Hello and welcome to Deception Diaries. Thanks for joining us today. We've got a brand new story to share with you, so let's begin. My name is David, and what I'm about to tell you changed the foundation of everything I once believed about love, commitment, and the person I thought I knew better than anyone else in this world. It's strange how we build entire lives on promises, verbal contracts between two hearts that we assume will withstand any storm. But I've learned that sometimes the strongest promises are as fragile as morning frost when faced with the heat of temptation. I met Elaine during my final year of engineering school. She worked at the campus coffee shop where I'd camp out for hours with my textbooks and laptop. Her smile lit up the room, and she always remembered my order: black coffee with one sugar and a splash of cream. Not exactly rocket science, but it felt special somehow. After weeks of small talk, I finally mustered the courage to ask her out. Our first date was nothing fancy, just burgers at a local dive and a walk through the park, but by the end of the night, I knew she was different. There was something genuine about the way she laughed, the thoughtful questions she asked, how she remembered every detail about my family after I'd mentioned them only once. We dated for 2 years before I proposed. The memory is still crystal clear. A weekend trip to her favorite beach, ring hidden in my pocket, shaking like a leaf as I dropped to one knee at sunset. Her eyes welled up with tears as she said yes, and the people around us applauded. I'd never felt more certain about anything in my life. Our wedding was modest but perfect. We couldn't afford much. I was just starting my career at an engineering firm, and Elaine was finishing her teaching degree. Her parents helped where they could, and we handled the rest with careful saving and DIY projects. Our honeymoon was a road trip down the California coast, staying in budget motels and eating at local diners. We didn't need luxury, we had each other, and that felt like more than enough. The early years of marriage were challenging but beautiful. We lived in a one-bedroom apartment that barely fit our secondhand furniture. I worked long hours trying to establish myself at the firm, while Elaine substitute taught and finished her credentials. Money was tight, but we made it work. Date nights became home-cooked meals and movies on our lumpy couch. We'd stay up late talking about our dreams, the house we'd buy someday, the children we'd have, the places we'd travel when we could afford it. When Elaine landed her first full-time teaching position at an elementary school, we celebrated like we'd won the lottery. I remember spinning her around our tiny kitchen, both of us laughing until we couldn't breathe. 3 years into our marriage, we managed to put a down payment on a small fixer-upper in a decent neighborhood. Weekends became renovation projects, painting walls, replacing cabinet handles, fixing leaky faucets. Every improvement made the house feel more like our home. In our 5th year of marriage, Elaine got pregnant. I still remember her face when she showed me the test, a mixture of joy, terror, and wonder that perfectly mirrored my own feelings. I took on extra projects at work to save for the baby and handled more household responsibilities as her pregnancy progressed. I wanted to be the husband and father my own dad hadn't been: present, supportive, reliable. Emma was born on a Tuesday morning after 18 hours of labor. Watching Elaine bring our daughter into the world was the most humbling experience of my life. I held that tiny red-faced bundle and made silent promises to protect her, guide her, love her unconditionally. For the first time, I truly understood what it meant to have your heart exist outside your body. The next few years were a sleep-deprived blur of firsts. First smile, first steps, first words. We adjusted to parenthood together, figuring it out as we went. I'd rock Emma to sleep while Elaine graded papers. She'd handle morning drop-offs while I prepared for early meetings. We were a team, tackling each new challenge together. When Emma turned 3, Elaine went back to teaching full-time. Our routine shifted again as we balanced 2 careers and parenting. Life became a carefully choreographed dance of daycare pickups, grocery runs, and tag team bedtime stories. Exhausting, but fulfilling. Looking back, I can't pinpoint exactly when things began to change. The shifts were so subtle at first, like shadows lengthening so gradually across a room, that you don't notice the darkness until you're sitting in it. Maybe it was when Elaine joined a gym and suddenly had evening workout sessions 3 times a week, or when she password protected her phone after 5 years of our knowing each other's codes. Perhaps it was the new clothes, the different hairstyle, the unfamiliar perfume. Each change seemed innocent enough on its own. Self-improvement, privacy, updating her look. I told myself she deserved these small pleasures after years of putting everyone else first. The first real alarm bell rang when I came home early from a business trip to surprise her and found our house empty at 9 p.m. on a school night. Emma was at my mother-in-law supposedly because Elaine had a teacher's meeting that would run late. I called the school, only to learn no such meeting was scheduled. When she finally came home at 11, cheeks flushed and hair slightly disheveled, the explanation about helping a colleague move felt hollow, but I swallowed my suspicions along with my pride. Our conversations grew shorter, more perfunctory. How was your day? Fine. Any plans this weekend? The usual. Physical intimacy became rare, then practically non-existent. When I reached for her at night, there was always a reason. Too tired, headache, early morning. The woman who once couldn't keep her hands off me now flinched at my touch. I became that husband I'd always pitied, the one checking receipts, scanning text messages when her phone was momentarily unattended, noticing the mileage on her car. I hated myself for it, but the knot in my stomach grew tighter each day. Something was wrong, and no matter how many times I asked what was bothering her, the answer was always nothing or just stress from work. Then came the day that divided my life into before and after. It was a Tuesday, unremarkable in every way. Emma was at a playdate, and I'd come home early with a migraine. As I rummaged through our bathroom cabinet for pain relievers, I knocked over Elaine's makeup bag. Gathering the scattered items, I found a hotel key card tucked into a side pocket. Not a disposable card, but a platinum member card with her name embossed on it. A hotel chain I didn't know she frequented, a membership I hadn't known existed. My hands trembled as I turned it over, examining this small piece of plastic that suddenly seemed so significant. I placed it exactly where I'd found it and went downstairs to my laptop. Our accounts were linked, another remnant of those early trusting days. The hotel charges appeared every Thursday for the past 4 months. Always the same hotel, always for a few hours, never overnight. I sat there staring at the screen until my vision blurred. The pain in my head was nothing compared to the vice grip around my heart. When I heard her key in the lock, I closed the laptop and waited. She bustled in with grocery bags, chattering about a sale on Emma's favorite cereal. I watched her, this stranger wearing my wife's face, and wondered how long she'd been gone while still being right here. Who is he? The words hung in the air between us, simple and devastating. Her hands froze in the act of unloading groceries. For a moment, she didn't turn around, and I could see the calculation happening in the rigid line of her shoulders. What are you talking about? She finally faced me, expression carefully neutral. The hotel, Elaine, every Thursday for 4 months. The membership card in your makeup bag. Who is he? The color drained from her face, then returned in a swift flush. You were going through my things? I knocked over your makeup bag looking for Advil. Don't deflect. I deserve the truth. She leaned against the counter, arms crossed defensively. It's not what you think. I laughed, a harsh sound I barely recognized. Really? That's the line you're going with? What exactly should I think about my wife having a standing hotel reservation that I knew nothing about? It's complicated, David. Then uncomplicate it for me. The silence stretched between us, thick with 18 years of history teetering on the edge of a cliff. His name is Mark, she finally said. He's the vice principal at the high school in the next district. We met at a teaching conference last year. Each word was a hammer blow to my chest. The room seemed to tilt sideways as I gripped the kitchen chair for support. Do you love him? My voice sounded distant, like it belonged to someone else. She hesitated, and that pause told me everything. I don't know, maybe. It's different with him. Exciting. New. And what are we? Old? Boring? A mistake? Don't put words in my mouth, she snapped. You have no idea what it's like being with someone who has everything all figured out, who never struggles, who's always so damn perfect. I stared at her, bewildered. Perfect? I'm not perfect, Elaine. I'm just trying my best every day for you and Emma. That's exactly it, she threw her hands up. Your best makes the rest of us look like we're not trying hard enough. Do you know what it's like living with someone who never complains, never fights back, never shows any real emotion? So you cheated on me because I'm too supportive? I cheated because I needed to feel something again. Her voice rose, then dropped suddenly as she glanced toward the door, remembering Emma would be home soon. Mark makes me feel alive, challenged, seen. My throat constricted. And I don't? After 18 years together? She shook her head, eyes avoiding mine. Not anymore. Those two words sliced through me like a serrated blade. Not anymore. As if love had an expiration date I'd failed to notice. What about Emma? I asked, my voice breaking. Something flickered across her face. Guilt, pain. I couldn't tell anymore. I love our daughter. That hasn't changed. So what now? What's your plan? She took a deep breath. I need some time away to figure things out. Mark has asked me to move in with him. The room spun wildly around me. You've already decided then. She had the decency to look ashamed. I've packed some things. I was going to tell you this weekend when my mother could take Emma. How considerate of you to schedule the demolition of our family, I said, my voice icy even to my own ears. The next few days passed in a surreal blur. Elaine moved out on Friday while I took Emma for ice cream and a movie, a coward's exit that denied me even the dignity of a proper goodbye. I told our 7-year-old daughter that mommy needed some time away for work, a lie that tasted like ash in my mouth. At night, after Emma fell asleep, I sit in my living room and try to pinpoint the moment our marriage had become disposable to Elaine. Friends and family rallied around us with casseroles and concerned expressions. My brother Mark, the irony of the shared name not lost on me, flew in from Chicago and stayed for 2 weeks, helping with Emma's routine and forcing me to eat when food seemed pointless. My mother-in-law, to her credit, was devastated by her daughter's choices. I didn't raise her to break vows, she told me tearfully over coffee. 6 weeks after Elaine left, I received divorce papers. No attempt at reconciliation, no suggestion of counseling, just legal documents that reduced 18 years to assets and custody percentages. I signed them without contest. Fighting would only prolong the inevitable and damage Emma further. The most unexpected call came from Mark himself, 3 months into our separation. He asked to meet, man to man. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We sat across from each other at a bar, far from our usual haunts. He looked nothing like I'd imagined, not younger or more handsome or more successful. Just an ordinary guy with nervous hands and guilt-ridden eyes. I'm not here to apologize, he said after we'd ordered drinks. What I did was wrong, and no apology makes that right. Then why are we here? Because you should know she's gone. He stared into his whiskey. Left in the night without a word. Took her clothes, left her key, blocked my number. A laugh escaped me before I could stop it. She ghosted you. Apparently, I was just another stepping stone. His expression was bitter. There's someone else already. Some tech executive she met at a school fundraiser. I should have felt vindicated, but all I felt was hollow. Why tell me this? Because she's coming back to you, he said, meeting my eyes directly. She called me last night, drunk, going on about making a mistake. Said you were the safe choice, the stable one. That she's planning to ask for another chance. The words hit me like a physical blow. For weeks, I'd fantasized about exactly this. Elaine realizing her mistake, returning to our family, rebuilding what we'd lost. But hearing it characterized as me being the safe choice turned that fantasy to dust. Thank you for the warning, I said quietly. She called the very next day, voice tentative as she asked to come by and talk about things. I agreed, but when she arrived, she found not just me but also my lawyer and a comprehensive custody agreement that gave me primary custody of Emma. What is this? She demanded, ignoring the lawyer's presence. This is me choosing self-respect, I replied calmly, and choosing stability for our daughter. You can't keep Emma from me. I'm her mother. I'm not keeping her from you. You're welcome to the visitation outlined here, but her home will be with me. Her eyes narrowed. Because I made one mistake? No, I said, the weight of months of pain behind my words. Because you made a series of deliberate choices that showed exactly where your priorities lie, and they weren't with us. She left in tears, threats of a custody battle trailing behind her. But when faced with evidence of her abandonment and multiple affairs, she eventually signed the agreement. That was 18 months ago. Today, Emma and I have settled into our new normal. We have Taco Tuesdays and homework battles and weekend adventures. Elaine sees her every other weekend and for dinner on Wednesdays. Our interactions are cordial, focused solely on Emma's well-being. As for me, I've learned some hard but valuable lessons through this crucible of betrayal. First, that love alone isn't enough to sustain a marriage. It also requires honesty, respect, and active choice every single day. Second, that sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to walk away from someone who doesn't value you. Third, that forgiveness isn't about excusing the behavior, but about refusing to let the pain dictate your future. And finally, that you can be a good man, a good father, and a good partner, and still have someone choose to leave, and that says more about them than it ever will about you. I've started dating again recently, cautiously, thoughtfully. Emma has met exactly one woman, a kindergarten teacher named Allison, who understands the package deal we represent. I'm not rushing toward another relationship, but I'm not closing that door either. Looking back at the wreckage of what I thought was a solid marriage, I sometimes wonder, can we ever truly know another person? How do you trust again after such profound betrayal? Is it possible to build something new without the foundation being cracked by old wounds? I don't have all the answers yet, but I do know that I'm stronger now, more aware of my own worth, more attuned to the red flags I once ignored. The man who was blindsided by his wife's betrayal wouldn't recognize the man I've become, and that's not entirely a bad thing. What about you? Have you experienced the disappearing act of someone you thought would stay forever? How did you rebuild afterward? What wisdom did you gain from the breakdown that you couldn't have learned any other way? Let me know in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, please consider sharing it with someone who might be walking a similar path. Don't forget to subscribe for more real stories about relationships, betrayal, and the complicated journey of healing. Until next time, remember that sometimes the most painful endings lead to the most necessary beginnings.